here to bring you news, politics, and whatever else tickles my fancy. Welcome to the Ho Ho Show, and I am your host, Ho Ho. All right. Well, guys, this is September 11th, 2017, 16 years after the tragedy. And on this day, numerous, people were remembering the sacrifices of the first responders on that day. The sacrifice of those that were in the plane that took it down in Pennsylvania. The over 3,000 lives that were lost that day in the World Trade Centers as it went down. And let's just give that a moment of silence. Alright, so in true fashion for what today is, I am going to read a story headline, and this is coming from the Declaration, the Independent Journal Review. The Declaration. Oh, yeah. Okay. At the 9/11 ceremony, Mattis looked at Trump and said 5 words that define military service. So, this man, got a lot of respect for Mattis. I really do. Just the overall person of whom he is, his persona, his, just what he stands for. And, let's see, let me get down. I'm not going to read the actual speech or even, there was some words in here that were just awesome, and that's what I'm looking for. I really wish there was a function that I can, highlight something. I already, tried to put something on the screen, and I used some whiteout on the screen in my phone, and that just didn't work, because then whenever I scrolled up or scrolled down, well, the whiteout just kind of stayed there, so just didn't work. All right, here we go, guys. All right, so Mattis begins his remarks commemorating the nearly 3,000 lives lost that morning around the country. He then critiqued the temporizing of the fight against radical Islam. A veiled shot at the previous administration, Mattis, in his trademark fashion, was blunt, saying, "We Americans are not made of cotton candy. We are not seaweed drifting on the current. We are not intimidated by our enemies." And, part of the crux of this was, all right, let me just go ahead and get down to that as well. Oh, don't you dare do that. Dadgummit. You did do that. Oh, you did it twice. Sometimes I love technology. Sometimes I absolutely hate it. All right, so yeah, here we go. Again, this is true Mattis style. He then paused after he said this, and then he turned away from the podium and looked directly at Trump and said, "Mr. President, your military does not scare." I thought that was awesome. I mean, I really did. So, there you go. Mattis, true Mattis style. Loved it. All right, continuing on. And I love this one too. Headline, and this is from the Daily Wire. A Dairy Queen owner posted this politically incorrect sign. It's creating a lot of buzz. And that's the thing that he says that this restaurant is politically incorrect. That I guess he's put things on the sign, Merry Christmas and Happy Easter and God bless America and in God we trust, and things of that nature. And that's one of them things that since when has things like that become politically incorrect? I mean, come on, guys, are we so weak in character that we have to attack somebody just for saying, bless you or Merry Christmas. I say Merry Christmas to people because that's what I want them to have. As I define the holiday season, that's how I define it. I'm not going to know just by looking at you whether or not you're a Jew and you celebrate Hanukkah. I'm not going to know. And of the other, Yuletime stuff out there, I don't know, what you celebrate or if you celebrate. But, don't squash my beliefs. I'm showing kindness to you. I mean, come on. Since when is kindness a crime? And, reading this story, it reminded me of something else that I had read. And it was about, I think this was from not a headline, but a license plate in, I believe, Virginia, that it had on the bottom of it, "In God We Trust." And he was all ticked off about that, and, basically throwing a whole stink to making them, wanting to make them remove it. And it's like, are you kidding me? Come on, guys. If you're going to go that route, then remove it off the money. Remove it off of everything. There's a reason why. Okay, oh, wow, yeah. So, it's freedom of religion, not freedom from religion. Okay? Let's make that abundantly and perfectly clear. I have the right to say Merry Christmas. I have that right. It's freedom of speech. You don't have the right to punch me for saying it to you. Alright? It's that simple. I have the freedom of speech. I have the freedom of my religion. I have the freedom to exercise that religion. As long as it doesn't interfere with your freedom, my freedom still stands. And there is a freedom of speech, not a freedom from speech. I've said this before and I'll say it again. That's how it's written. That's the wordage of it. And it means something. Okay? Now, I don't know if you are aware of this, but our nation, our founding, is wrapped around the Protestant Christian view. You don't believe me? It's everywhere. Say what you will. It doesn't matter. All right. I think it was Benjamin Franklin, said that our form of government was made for a good and moral people. It is wholly inadequate for any other type of person. And he's right. Our form of government, it's predicated upon a certain amount of self-governing. It was set up for you to govern yourself without without being told everything that you can and cannot do by government. That's how it was set up and how it was designed originally. And that requires a certain amount of moral, certain amount of values and morals in your life. And that's what it requires, But for those of you that don't have that, that's also why there's a Second Amendment, so that this way I don't have to have the power of the government to stand up for my rights, because that's what my job is. My job is to protect my home. That's what it is. So there you go. There's that. Little sidestep, a little tangent, but even still, our own history is predicated around, it's, let's just stay Protestant. Let's not throw Christianity into it. Let's not throw, Pilgrim into it, or the Quakers. Let's not throw any of that. It was predicated on a creator. It's in there itself. We are endowed by our creator with certain unalienable rights. The creator. But moving on. And this one goes, North Korea's thermonuclear warhead solves one of the biggest problems with its missile, and that was accuracy. That was one of the problems with it. Not only, its missile's ability to re-enter, but it's overall accuracy. And that's one of the things that they're working on with their, ICBMs. They're working on accuracy, and so far their tests have been their tests have consisted of, going straight up and coming straight down as far as, what they've been doing. They haven't been firing at anybody. I know that there was a report that they fired a missile over Japan, but as far as their other missile tests has been, that's at least what it looks like. I mean, I could be wrong on that. If you guys have other information on it, let me know. I don't want to be wrong on this, but it's just some of the reports that I've heard. So, with this and their testing of the thermonuclear warhead, it's one of them things that's showing that, they've got potential. And, I've said this and addressed this in a previous podcast that I've done, that, it's, with their link and ties to China and to Russia, they already have, this technology. They can trade it some way, shape, or form to North Korea, and North Korea can get their hands on it. It's not like it's something that they necessarily have to do themselves and come up with themselves. I mean, there's countries out there that are willing to. I mean, hell, Iran has been, giving him nuclear warheads, plutonium, if I remember correctly. Has been giving him nuclear stuff. So, I mean, it's not outside the purview that, they can get, this technology given to them by another country. It is not outside the realm of possibilities, is what I'm trying to say. So, just keep that in mind. And another thing on North Korea, and I'm going to go ahead and take a small break on that one. And I'll come back to that one after the break. Another little bombshell. Wow, that's funny. Not intentional. All right, guys, I'll see you in a few minutes. Here is In This Moment in the Air tonight. I'm running out of music. I'm sorry. Up here in Canada, I'm not really able to, download a whole bunch of stuff the way I'm wanting to, but I apologize. Just deal with it at least until tomorrow. I'll get this worked out. All right, be back in a few minutes. All right. Well, I am back. And let's see here. Yeah, so I'm back. Sorry about the delay there. I hit the wrong stinking button. Did not mean to do that. But yeah, as I was saying before the break, another aspect of... Where'd it go? Here we go. Nope, that's not it. Well, I don't see it. Where'd it go? There it is. UN passes fresh sanctions on North Korea. Now, I really haven't read through this story to, and this is from CNN, and this came out... Oh, this came out yesterday. So it's a resolution designed to accomplish 6 major goals. I'm not really going to read through this. This was by Zachary Cohen and Richard Roth in CNN on the 10th. UN passes fresh sanctions on North Korea. Really, one of the things I brought this up for was to remind me about a previous article or something I had heard that I don't remember if it was Russia that said this or whether it was North Korea that said this. But, they said that, there would be penalties, or it would be a bad thing for us to, for the UN to increase sanctions on them. And basically, they were going to be blaming us completely for this, not necessarily blaming the UN. So, that's what... that's what more or less that I found interesting, and it's again, this goes along with what I was reading as far as with their capital being evacuated. Remember I talked about that yesterday, and it's one of them things that just pay attention to what they're doing and what they're saying, and they're preparing for something big. Obviously, if they've completely evacuated their state capital, so obviously they're preparing for something. They know something that we don't. Let's just put it that way. They know something that we don't. So what is it do they know? All right, that little thing that I did, it reminded me of what was the kid Mouse in the Matrix, the first one. Yeah, I'm sorry. Just my mind, the stupid things that it does to me sometimes is great. All right, well, the next headline, I'm trying to pull this up now. Okay, here it is. From USA Today, Hurricane Jose, a potential threat to U.S. East Coast next week. So let's recap. Okay, we had Hurricane Harvey come in, and it did a lot of damage to, the Houston area. You have okay, sorry, I got a text message. All right, at any rate, so you had Hurricane Harvey that came in and more or less hit the Houston area. You have Hurricane Irma that just, it's still, wreaking havoc over there. It may not be a hurricane now. It is, kind of, it's losing power and whatnot, but, that hit Florida and is going up, more or less the East Coast. I know Atlanta's going to be getting affected and whatnot. So, it's moving up there. And now you have coming Hurricane Jose, and if I remember correctly, there is another hurricane that is even more east than that. So, you've got 4 hurricanes, bam, 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 bam. All right. Yes, I used my fingers and counted. So, yeah. All right. So, but yeah, it's just, it is hurricane season through and through, guys. So, if you are in the paths of this, if you're over there, out east, pay attention to the news. And if you need to, go inland. Because, guys, this is not worth your life. It's really not. Just yeah, don't risk it. Please don't risk it at all. I mean, it's, granted, we've got some awesome opportunity to help out our fellow man. So definitely there's all kinds of stuff out there, organizations that you can donate to. I know the Red Cross is doing some awesome things down there in the Houston area, and down there in Texas. And last I heard, earlier today, could have been yesterday, no, it was earlier today, the things are calming down now in Tampa was not really hit all that bad. Well, okay, let me take that back. They were hit, obviously, but they didn't have the flooding that they were expecting they were going to have, because I guess the hurricane winds, it didn't push the water inland, it was more or less pushing it out, so you didn't have near the flooding that they were really expecting that they were going to have. So I mean, that's a minor blessing right there. So yeah, but I guess Tampa is just, there's no way to really get down there right now, because last I heard, I-10 at I-75 is like more or less underwater. I guess Jacksonville, Florida, if I'm remembering correctly on the name, I guess that has a lot of flooding over there in that area. So definitely, guys, prayers go out to them. And if you guys really feel in your heart to do something, please do some research out there, and get with a company that does relief, Red Cross, any other type of charity like that. That's what would be totally amazing to do. Let's see, Hurricane Jose is a Category 3 storm barreling towards the U.S. They're saying what we know about its path, but I mean, that's one of the things whenever you're talking about a hurricane's path. These things change direction. They change, depending on what the water's doing. The current, that thing that my hand's doing motions right now. I know you can't see it, but it's doing motions and stuff. So, but yeah, I mean, hurricanes change direction like that. It'll increase and decrease in its, in its powers. Destructive capabilities go up and down on the scale. So, just keep paying attention out there. I mean, I know where I'm at, it's not that big of a deal, but I mean, I do try to pay attention for those who are over there. So, all right, moving on. Next headline. This came from Fox News. Ariel Winter poses with firearms after passing her safety test. Okay, one, amazing, good job. I guess she's 19 years old, of the Modern Family actress. Well, at any rate, who's Ariel Winter? And why is this even news? Who cares? Yeah, okay, so she got a firearm. Yeah, okay, so she passed her test. Amazing, good job. She poses for it. Okay, what's the big deal? But it's really, you're going to have anti-gun people just, go off on her because she's a legal gun owner and she's proud of her accomplishment? There's nothing to see here, guys. This is not news. This is, this is a smear report, I guess, if you want to call it. All right, so, moving on. I digress. Headline, and this is from... what, really? Extra crispy? It's a food and sweets thing. Okay, so the headline is, what's actually in Cool Whip? I'll tell you what's in Cool Whip, guys. I'll tell you right now. I'm a fat kid. All right, I have done hours and hours of research into this. All right, I know my Cool Whip. I know it well. I can give you the main ingredient of Cool Whip, and it is amazing. Oh yeah, guys, it's Cool Whip. It is absolutely amazing. It's just... I know, I'm such a goober. But you know what, guys? Cool Whip's one of them things that, I mean, nobody expects it to be good for you. I mean, come on, it's called a sinful pleasure, I think, is more or less what it refers to as. Yeah, nobody eats this stuff expecting it to be good for you. Of course it's bad. I haven't even read this thing. It doesn't matter. I mean, it doesn't matter at all. I mean, like, I know too much about hot dogs, and I know too much about, chocolate milk that you buy. I don't need to know about Cool Whip, because what I know is it's amazing, so it doesn't matter. That's all it is. That's all it needs to be. So, all right, next story. I know, and again, guys, I know, I'm a little out there, I'm a little crazy, I'm a goober. As I said before, those that know me, they know. Those that don't, y'all should figure it out, because I do not hide. I don't hide my weirdness. I have what I call, kind of a literal logic. All right. Allow me to explain. I was with a buddy of mine, and and his mom, and they were driving us. We were delivering newspapers. Okay. And this is obviously goes back, quite a few years. All right, let's just leave it at that. And we're coming up on a residence, and on the residence, or outside the residence, there's a fence. And on this fence, there is a sign. And printed on this sign, there are words. And these words say, Whispering Pines. And I look at this sign, and logic and reason hit me. And it says, or I think, my brain, it goes, hey, you know what? I wonder if they've ever said a word. Now, while I'm thinking this, my buddy's mom, she pipes up and she goes, and this is an inner monologue going on. And I know this because at the time, the filter hadn't, eroded to the point where it no longer worked. So I know that at the time, my inner monologue was still my inner monologue. It hadn't gone past to the point of no longer caring about inner monologuingness. That's not a word, but I made it up, and it's amazing. It fits, it works, I want to use it. But anyway, she says, I've never heard him say anything. And it took me a few seconds for this to click in my head of what she just said, because my inner monologue was loud. I mean, it was clear. I heard it very well. So I'm like, I blinked a couple times. I looked over at her, and I'm like, huh? She goes, Whispering Pines. I've never heard him say anything. And I just start busting up laughing at this point. This was funny. This was hilarious. And I had to tell her, I go, I was just thinking at the exact same time you said that I wonder if they've ever said anything. And of course she's like mad at me, because she's like, before you, this is something that never would have came into my head at all. So, at any rate, there it is. Literal logic. That's what my brain does to people, is it makes them wonder if Whispering Pines has ever said anything. So moving on. Headline: This guy reacts to the Dark Tower's bad reviews. Idris Elba. This is coming from CBR.com. I can't pronounce the guy's name. I'm sorry, I can't. I guess it did pretty decent at the box office. A modest 107 million in the worldwide box office, so that's pretty cool. Stephen King book series about this. Now, I am a fan of the Dark Tower. I'm a fan of Stephen King. I really haven't gotten into the Dark Tower series yet. A friend of mine, he has, and he sings its praises. He said it's an amazing book. It really ties the entire Stephen King universe together more or less in one place and explains so much stuff, and it goes, it's an amazing story. And me being a truck driver, sometimes reading isn't exactly the easiest thing to do. Well, not the easiest thing to do. Of course reading is easy, but finding the time, when you drive an 11-hour day, you're working periodically throughout that time frame, filling up, fueling, gotta throw sleep in there somewhere. And sometimes reading is it's hard to find a time for. However, Audible is one of them things that I have been using for quite some time now. At least a year I've been using Audible, and I have at least one of the Dark Tower books. The first one, I believe, is what I have. And it's just unfortunately, I wasn't able to get into it, not because of the subject matter, but it's just because, the guy who was narrating it, it's just, I just couldn't do it. It wasn't working for me, and that's just personal, personal feeling on the thing. It's just, this guy is a narrator, and I don't know who it was. It doesn't matter. But it just wasn't working for me, so I really haven't gone any farther than that, and explored it anymore as far as maybe getting one that had a different narrator. I don't know. So yeah, that pretty well goes from there. But there is one thing too that I was kind of looking at. And this comes from, a few days ago, but it was a headline that I read, and it was about a guy that was, there was a Sunday, September 3rd. Okay, well, he had August 27th. Okay, well, yeah, okay, never mind. This was something different. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and take a break there, guys. And when I get back, there's something that, has been in my thoughts, and something I've been thinking about doing. And I know I've talked about this before, but it's just kind of one of them things now that it's I've been doing some more research into it and really looking into it and kind of getting the take from other people. And I was getting sources from YouTube and whatnot, and just other people that was talking about it. So yeah, I want to discuss that more when I get back after the break. So I will talk to you in a few minutes.
Fast on a rough road, riding high through the mountains, climbing, twisting, turning further from my home. Young like a new moon rising, fierce through the rain and lightning, wandering out into this great unknown. And I don't want no one to cry, but tell them if I don't survive, I was born free. I was born free. I was born free. Born free. Free like a river raging strong is the wind I'm facing, chasing dreams and racing Father Time. Deep like the grandest canyon, wild like an untamed stallion. If you can't see my heart, you must be blind. You can knock me down and watch me bleed, but you can't keep no chains on me. I was born free. I was born free. I was born free. Born free. And I'm not good at long goodbyes, but look down deep into my eyes. I was born free. Calm, facing danger, lost like an unknown stranger. Grateful for my time with no regrets.
All right, all right, all right. Well, guys, so as I was saying before the break, last night I had just one of them things. I started researching something, and whenever last year, 2016. About the first week of July, I got off Facebook. It wasn't really planned. It's just one of them things that happened, and I never got back onto it again. And just like a week or two ago, I finally got back onto it, and but I stripped down like a lot of my friends list. I just deleted so many people, ones that I didn't even know if accounts were active. Some of them that just had multiple accounts on there, for the same person. I just started deleting a bunch of people, and I got the list down from like upwards of 500 down to somewhere under 80. So I went through and I really cleaned up a lot with it. And truth be told, the only reason why I really got back into Facebook was for promoting my podcast, and that's really it. I really didn't have any other thing that I wanted to do with it. That truly was it. And just one of the things that it's, because I know that through Spreaker you can promote it into Facebook, you can promote it into YouTube and Twitter, and it's just one of them things that I didn't know how I felt about it, using any of the social media, to be honest. Obviously you got to use something, but I didn't really know how I felt about it, and I pretty well, just researching it, because sometimes it's, I can't go to bed until I put an issue to bed, and that's more or less where I was at with, me thinking about this. And I've pretty well decided that I'm going to go ahead and delete my personal Facebook account, and if I do anything, I'm going to be opening an account specifically for promoting my podcast, and that's going to be it. The only thing that I do in that, get my friends involved in it, those that I, just get my friends involved in it and see where they want to, share it and whatnot, and just kind of go from there. And, I'm already, on Twitter. I have one for the podcast. I'm putting episodes on YouTube, on my YouTube channel. So, I am promoting it out there, but I'm not promoting it. I'm just putting it out there. Let's put it that way. And, I'm already getting listeners in on it. So, that's just neat. And, so I'm definitely, that's pretty well where I was looking at. But the thing is that the guy, that I was listening to is that, Facebook sells your information. They sell everything, they sell all that stuff, and you don't get anything in return out of it. And it's kind of one of the things that, you can see a return out of some of the other ones. And, the question that the guy raised was, why give Facebook your content, like when it comes to, not only your podcast, but, when it comes to pictures and media, different things of that nature, when you can basically keep it yourself. So what I'm looking into getting, and I've already started researching into it with, domains, places to get a domain and hosting, is that's just getting my own .com. And so that's where I'm looking at with that. I've had a .com before. Well, actually, I had a .info, but, same basic concept. I did it through GoDaddy. So, I got to, kind of research into it a little bit more and see pricing and what would be the best place for me to go for hosting that'll give me more or less what I'm looking for. So that's what I'm looking at right now. Starting up a different Facebook account, getting a .com, something to do with my podcast. So that's where I'm at. So yeah, if you guys have any ideas, any places that you know of that I can go to for hosting, then please let me know. I've seen a list of like 25 different ones and trying to read up on them and really get an idea of what these companies, who they are and what they offer and about their pricing. It's a lot to go through. So if you guys have any input onto that, feel free, let me know and get back with me. So that's pretty well all I got for this episode. Thank you guys very much for listening. Have a wonderful day. Sleep tight. And if them bed bugs bite, by golly, bite them back. That's all I got, guys. Good night.
Inside. The city's looking like a ghost town on a moonless summer night. Raindrops on the